I believe that this is going to be a particularly vicious campaign.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but it is.
Yeah.
And those of us that witnessed the scenes last time after Philip won in the Park Ward by-election last November will know what I mean when I say that the opposition are very, very hard people.
Philip Jones, 30, contesting Park Ward Scunthorpe for the Conservatives. Frank O'Brien, 55, contesting Greatfield Marfleet Ward in Hull for Labour. It's sure to be a fierce fight, the first county election since local government reorganisation, the first reappraisal of that shotgun wedding between north and south banks of the Humber, still only tenuously joined by the first steel strands of the Humber Bridge.
Good evening and welcome, comrades, to this joint meeting of the Greatfield and Marfleet Joint Wards. Very gratifying to see such an excellent turnout on what can only be described as a very unpleasant evening.
Labour take it very seriously indeed, and early in the campaign there's already tension as the committee in Frank O'Brien's ward discuss how the candidates were announced.
Silly devils at it. I knew he was a bit more rude than that, but I remembered we've got ladies present tonight. But
the Conservatives are more relaxed, gin and tonic, pints of beer, and an air of optimism as they plan their campaign. Of course, there are Liberals and other minor parties, but with a Labour majority of only one, the real battle for Humberside is over who wins control, Conservative or Labour. Philip Jones is married with a 4-year-old son, Paul. And when it comes to politics, wife Doris takes a back seat.
A lot of the politicians' wives stay in the background, which is really, I suppose, where I see myself, not in the front lines.
The O'Briens have a grown-up son and daughter, and Frank's late start in politics came as quite a shock to his wife Ada.
Well, he just came in and he just said, I've been selected to stand as candidate for Humberside County Council. And I just looked at him and laughed. I just said, oh, well, I didn't believe him at first. I just thought he was having me on.
Any questions?
I would like to say, Mr. Chairman, that I was instructed to give a press release, and this was published in the Hull Mail on Friday, January the 18th.
Mr. Chairman, in regards to press release, the Secretary was informed to give a press release of what went on. But I think at the time he went above his duties and announced that Frank O'Brien was taking Councillor Johnson's place. Now all these names was going to be released at one go, and by virtue of this being released beforehand, it was wrong, and we gave the Tories more ammunition than what they should have had.
I took to the Hull Daily Mail, under instruction, the names of the county councillors for our joint ward. The Hull Daily Mail did not print this release, thereby exercising, I suppose, what they would call the freedom of the press.
We had planned to hold this meeting this evening well before the county election to give us enough time to sort of do a good 5-week canvass of the area. We've proved in the past, well, we've had 2 elections in the last year, and we've proved that 5 weeks is really cutting it very fine anyway, and there's going to be a lot of hard work put in now, between now and May the 5th. I like to help people if I can. I feel that by being an elected representative, I can help people. 5,500 people in the constituency I represent. I'm really sort of their voice in the local authority. And that the way things are on Humberside at the moment, I feel certain that an effective opposition is absolutely necessary.
I'm the local lad, more or less. I've been on this estate for 20 years, and I'm standing for Greatfield and Marfleet. And I think I know their problems, and if I can possibly do anything to put the problems across to the right quarter, I think that's what I'll be elected for. Well, the Labour Party can do a lot for Hull, because we have people here, we have high skills in this town. We have the shipyard people who are unemployed, the people in the typewriter industry, highly trained technicians, and they're not doing the job that they were originally trained for. And I think we have some high skills in this town that could be used.
Spearheading the Conservatives' campaign on Humberside is John Townend, the owner of a large chain of wine stores. He has no doubts at all about the potential of his candidate for Park Ward in Scunthorpe.
He's an excellent young man, and he's, in the very short time that he's been on the council, he's made a very good impression. And of course, in Scunthorpe, the Labour Party is completely split. There's the new Social Democratic Labour Party, which is the moderates, the old traditional working class moderate Labour man, who have split away from the main party. The main party is now left wing to Marxist controlled, and there's 2 Labour candidates in every seat. And in Philip Jones's seat, there's also a communist. And I've got great confidence that not only will Philip Jones hold his seat, but that we'll take at least another 3 seats in Scunthorpe.
Millie sent this, and I must say I was shocked to read what they said about Conservatives in general, but I know that that was meant for me. And we left it. We just left it alone, and we carried on with our campaign as we'd planned the campaign, and won. Freedom. That's my sort of catchword, and bear in mind I've gone for election 3 times within 12 months in the same ward of Scunthorpe, the Park Ward, and I've used freedom as my sort of catchword on each occasion. That freedom of speech, freedom for the individual, freedom from sort of government controls, freedom of educational choice, all these freedoms which, within a socialist state or a socialist-run county, we don't have really any freedoms at all.
Meanwhile, back in Hull, Labour leader Harry Lewis sees Frank O'Brien as the ideal candidate for one of Hull's traditionally Labour wards.
Well, I think if you look at Frank O'Brien, people will vote for him because Frank will be recognised as a bloke of ability. He's been a trade unionist all his life. He's got a very good brain in as much as that he's got a deep understanding of problems that face people in trade unions. I think, like myself, he's got a trade union background, so he'll be able to carry that on in the county council itself. He's got a mind which is he can use, and he can come forward with innovation, with suggestions, and this, all the time, this has been apparent in Frank in his activities in the party. Now that he's a candidate, I think he'll make a fantastic councillor, inasmuch as he will have the ability to cope with the problems that are facing everyday people.
Well, my first job, I went to an optician's where they promised me some form of an apprenticeship, but it turned out that I was just an errand boy. And then I left there and I joined a sawmilling firm on Eden Road and eventually got an apprenticeship in the sawmilling industry.
Doing what?
Well, I specialise really in saw doctoring, and I've done that most of my life. There aren't many of us about us. I think we're a dying breed. Saws, as they're being used in the mill, come back into the tool room or the saw doctor's shop or the sharp house. They'll go under various names. And I actually doctor them. I sharpen them, knock lumps out of them if there's lumps in them, put set on them if they need set on, and do whatever's necessary. Like a family doctor or physician, I doctor them and put them in good working order. It's a specialist job. It's, a lot of people can't pick it up. It has tricks to it, like every trade has. And if you learn these tricks and you're willing to learn them, and I had a good teacher, and I think I did very well out of it.
And are you a good saw doctor, do you think?
I think I'm one of the best.
Well, I manage a very high production ready-mix concrete plant within Scunthorpe. The plant I operate is within a fairly substantial division of a multinational group of companies with a turnover of something like sort of £300 million. So I don't think we're a sort of a socialist-orientated company. You can say we're a capitalist company, no question of it. Hello.
Hello, Philip. Albert here. Got a problem. Wonder if you can help.
Hello, Albert. Is it about that job at the sulphate plant reheater? Yeah. Well, we've received your inquiry, and a quotation will be going off tonight. There are 6 mixes involved, which you must know about by now, and the first 2 have got a minimum cement content. Now, as far as you know, Albert, do you know, are the other 4 mixes to your design, or are they sort of standard concrete practice? Well, all sorts of things happen like that. You should get it either tomorrow or the next day, and then is our meeting still on for the week after next? Yeah, well, if we leave it at that, look forward to that.
I'm pleased to be able to tell you that Central Office are rallying to help us considerably. They realise that we are going to win Humberside, and they realise that the Brigham and Scunthorpe constituency possibly holds the key. If we can gain 4 or 5 seats in this constituency, the odds are that Humberside will undoubtedly go Conservative.
We're spending far too much money on highways, on the maintenance of highways in Humberside, so we're going to embrace it with planning and call it the planning and transportation. Well, as you go round and talk to people in the general canvass, the fact that Humberside County Council employs 37,000 people, it's a frightening number of people, really, when we think that the population of Humberside is approximately 848,000 people. And of those, less than 50% can be considered to be workers. So you're talking about in excess of 10% are employed by the county council. So we're grossly overstaffed, no question of that.
We have taken up occupation of 2 rooms in Bevan House. Now, if you get your pens ready, the telephone number of Bevan House is 24167. 24167. And our office has the extension 33. 33. 24167 and ask for extension 33.
And would you like to explain the policy of the school banding system as reported in tonight's Hull Daily Mail?
Well, comrades, as you know, today I've been down to London and I've only just seen a quick glance at the paper, but what the Conservatives are saying is that they're going to abandon the banding system which now exists in Hull. They're talking about parental choice. They say that this will be paramount in their thinking. It's paramount in ours at the present moment in time. And if you look at the number of pupils that we have in the Hull area, and Hull is peculiar, there's nowhere else in the county where we've got this having to shift kids from one side of the city to the other. Basically it's due to slum clearance, basically it's due to the building of the new schools in the locations they are at the present moment. But unless we get a balanced intake, unless we get a balanced teacher proportion, you know, in specialised subjects, you will, there's no doubt about it, we will create ghetto schools.
It's the last vital couple of weeks of the campaign, and Frank O'Brien finds more friends than enemies as he canvasses his home territory, the huge council estates of Greatfield and Marfleet in Hull.
And can we rely on your support then in the
definitely,
elections
yes.
on the 5th of May?
Yes, you definitely can.
Put you down for a yes.
Yes, yes, yes. As many yeses as you like.
Yes, you can rely on my vote. I think I've voted ever since, what, 1927, haven't we?
Earlier than that.
Well, 1924,
Right.
when we were a member of the Labour Party, and we've used our vote on every occasion, and it's always been for the Labour Party. Because we've never had anything under the Tories, never.
It's been stated that if we don't win Greatfield and Marfleet Ward, might as well all jump in the river. We're relying your vote on the 5th of May?
Well, I'll think about it. Excuse me, voice, I've got a cold.
Yeah.
I'll think about it. Let's put it this way. I vote for nobody. No. After the common market, that did me.
No, well, this isn't the common market. This is local affairs, isn't it?
I don't care what it is.
Yeah.
I said I'd never vote for nobody. After the common market.
Can we rely on your vote on the 5th of May?
Definitely, yes.
Good.
Yes.
Good. Any questions you'd like to ask us about the
Well, I'm
election?
very pleased about the announcement today, the industrial help.
Oh, yes.
It's going to make a big difference, that I think.
It's badly needed.
Yes, definitely, yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Well, the best of luck on the 5th.
You think we're safe?
In this ward, otherwise dodgy.
Keeping up with the Joneses means taking the bad with the good in industrial Scunthorpe, with the one sitting Conservative surrounded by 8 Labour county councillors.
Go on then, what numbers have you got? Hello, Mr. Wish, you're canvassing on behalf of the Conservative Party for the county election, 5th of May.
Oh, we shouldn't be on to the Conservative Party, we are Conservatives.
Yeah, so we can count on your support?
Oh, yes, definitely.
OK then, thanks very much indeed.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Hello. Your chip pan's burning, missus. The chip pan's on fire. Wait a minute.
We'll be all right. Bring a wet... Have you got a wet towel?
Got a bit of a wet shirt.
Are you well?
Yes,
Yes. And you know, 5th of May, round the corner, Marsden Drive.
Yes.
Who to vote for?
Of course.
Yes. Very good. So we'll stick your name down. Right.
Thank you very much.
All right?
Everyone, don't forget. No apathy, we must go.
You don't need a car. You'll be able to get there.
I can walk.
All right, Pauline.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
I'm fully confident that I will win. I'm really confident that we will gain enough seats on Humberside to have a substantial majority after May. And if we do this, then I see good things for the county. Bear in mind, it's a very new county, only sort of 3.5 years old. But I see great things within a local authority.
Look at Mrs. Thatcher now. She's whittling like the devil to get Labour out again and Egger in. Isn't she now?
Why is she doing that?
You people
Are you
come in
better
and
off
forget
now?
the fact that
Well, shall we be better off when she gets in?
I would think so, Party.
I doubt
Times
it.
the Conservative
I mean,
Party
they've
gone
had
to
the
work
chance,
them
haven't
down.
they?
You forget that. You aren't old enough to remember things like that. But
Well,
you
I'm
don't want
only
to
30.
remember
I wasn't born, but, you know,
them. You
until
don't
after
want
the
to
war.
remember them. Well, I can.
Well, I don't want to.
remember
I'm not even
1926 and
interested
times like
what's happened before
that.
I was born.
No. That's what you wanted to think
I think
about,
we
because that's
successfully
where you lost
suggest,
the trust
Keith-
in your Conservative Party.
Philip, I think we should suggest that we won't get this gentleman's vote, so we'll
Can we-
waste
You
no
will
time.
not.
Can we put you down as a don't know?
No, don't put me as a don't know.
No.
Definitely not. I
Thank
know
you.
why.
Mallaloo was our MP. He come here same as you've come, and they brought bloody onions from France to sell here, and we dumped tons in the Boston Wash.
Yeah.
When I asked him about it, he said, send me a letter to the House of Parliament. I said, I'll send you a bugger all.
Well, that stinks, and the onions. Terrible.
And your bloody council, they all paid one pot.
You think so?
I'm sure.
Yeah. You don't mind us coming in? Yeah, this is very good, isn't it? Gosh, pleased to meet you. Mr. Volsky. Nice to meet you. Jan Wimborski. 5th of May, wonder if it might count on your support? That chap was in bed. Him and his wife in the nude in bed. Of course, Wally can't resist it. Wally says he's never canvassed anybody in bed before. He's not going to miss that.
Are we going by car again?
Yeah, yeah.
What I'm trying to do, and I'm talking about myself here, is trying to bring other people along who I'm associated with in the trade union movements and bring some possibly younger people than me into it and lead the way. Somebody has to be a first, and I look like being possibly the first in my particular union in this area. And let's hope other people follows on.
A lot of the Labour people, not just councillors, you get sort of jibes in full council all the time about the Conservative Party, don't really understand trade unions and would like to see them all sort of abolished. But it's not true. Of the majority of people, or the majority of councillors on the county, majority of Conservative councillors, believe and in the main are members of trade unions. I'm a trade unionist myself.
So, what are Philip's hopes for the future?
Short term, to make a success of being a county councillor. If I don't get re-elected, then I'll go down in history as being the shortest county councillor, shortest serving county councillor on Humberside, because you can't have a shorter time than 6 months. Long term, I would like to get even more actively involved in politics and maybe seek selection as a Member of Parliament at some date in the future.
And so the big night arrives, and it's all done bar the counting. The polling booths close at 9 and the ballot boxes roll in. Philip and friends pace the floor of a Scunthorpe school. Frank's family join the bedlam at the Guildhall in Hull. Forget the earlier optimism, the predictions, opinion polls, the national swings. This is the moment of truth for both candidates.
Nice to be at the end. Sorry? Nice to be at the end. Working class communist candidate.
Oh, yes.
Out of work.
As the clock approaches midnight, the counting continues. The tension builds up.
They always open our area. Last of all, don't they?
Yes. Save the cream.
It'll be announced very shortly. But, you know, we're waiting for the officers to do their full returns on the Sunday throw.
There we are.
Yeah.
Fancy having a counsellor for a dad.
And here it comes. All that waiting is finally over.
O'Brien Francis, 4,369. I declare that the following candidates have been elected. Charles Brady, Labour, Fred Henry Victor Lewis, Labour, and Francis O'Brien, Labour.
For a first-timer to come 2 votes behind the leader of the party, I think it's very well. Yes.
I say, are you pleased with the turnout as well?
Well, no, we're not pleased with the turnout, really. 30% isn't as good as we would have liked. But the weather was against us. If we'd have had a bit of sunshine, I think we'd have had about 45 to 50% turnout.
You must be pleased as well, Ada, aren't you?
Yes, very. Yeah, been very exciting.
I hereby give further notice and declare that Philip Roy Jones has been duly elected as councillor for the said electoral division in the said county.
I just can't wait now to get some cold drinks down.
To the club?
And start celebrating like we've celebrated every night during the canvassing for the last 4 weeks. We'll just continue in the same vein. Look forward to a very hard 4 years on Humberside County Council in some responsible position. Because
this is only the start of the work, isn't it?
We will be the ruling authority, there's no question, it will be the ruling party.
So the battle for Humberside is over. Success for Frank O'Brien and Philip Jones, and a remarkable swing to the Tories, giving them 30 more seats than Labour, an overall majority of 27 in the county council.
After such a long time in politics, most of it spent in opposition, it's rather a change to be on the winning side.
Surprised at all?
Not surprised, no. Delighted at the extent of our victory, but we hadn't really any doubts that we were going to win.
I think the electorate have made a very bad mistake. And if we look at what's been achieved by the County Council over the last 4 years, it's been tremendous. The present moment in time, great, we've left everything on a plate for the Tories.
Had a tough day today, haven't you?
Well, you know, it's been a bit tiring.
What do you think about 4,000 against 1,000? That's a bit of a vote, eh?
Well, I mean, for a first timer, I think it's a pretty good...
That's bloody marvellous. It's a very good result.
Oh, it's only 2 behind Harry, isn't it?
Only 2 behind. It's a very good result. And all them prison officers voted there.
Were you always confident that he would succeed?
Yes. Yes.